Hey, it's Whitley. The shoe journey continues. Let's start out with a disclaimer. All the shoes that I'm talking about here are good shoes, with the exception of one pair. And so I'm not disparaging any of these shoes. What I am saying is that everybody's feet are different. The feel and the fit of shoes work differently for everyone. And so what I'm really talking about here is how all of this played out for me, for my biology and my feet, and kind of how things work for me and my comfort. This whole shoe journey began about 3 years ago, and it started with a pair of Ultra Temp 1.5s. Great pair of shoes, but they just didn't work for me. I could not get used to the zero drop. I did like the shoes. They felt great, except I just couldn't get used to the zero drop. That was the problem with them. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those shoes with me to show you, but maybe I've got some B-roll I can put in a video here or something, I don't know. So after the Ultra Temp 1.5s, I tried the Hoka Speedgoat 4s. This was a great pair of shoes for me. In fact, I wore these until there's really not much left of them. The sole is worn, almost completely slick, and I just completely wore them out. The stack is so compressed, there's almost no cushion left in them. Really did enjoy these shoes. In fact, I had such a good experience with those Hoka Speedgoats, I wanted another pair of Hokas. So what I ended up getting was the Hoka Challenger ATR 6, and this pair of shoes proved to be a complete disaster. There's nothing you can look at on the sole to determine in advance what my experience was, but if anything is wet, these things are sliding all over it like it's glass, like it's ice. And I busted 2 knees on one day catching myself sliding around on wet rocks. These were a disaster. But what I really wanted was another pair of Hokas, and what I'm about to describe was kind of a self-inflicted wound. I go to get a pair of Hokas on the Thursday before I have a trip where I leave Saturday morning. Yeah, I did that to myself. And they don't have the Hokas in my size. So what I ended up having to get was the Salomon Speedcross 5s. Now, this is a good shoe. This pair of shoes worked out pretty well for me. I probably have in the ballpark of about 200 trail miles on them. So these did work, but these are not the best shoe for my feet. And I know there will be a lot of people who wear Salomons who are not going to like what I'm saying. I'm really not disparaging the shoe. The shoe is great. It just didn't work for me. Which brings us to the most recent shoe, and the shoe that I'm happy to say I'm going to be settled on for a while anyway, and it's the Hoka Speedgoat 5. So let's get some of the statistics out of the way first. These have a 38 millimeter stack under the heel and a 34 millimeter stack under the toe box, which gives you a 4 millimeter drop. And that difference between 4 millimeters and a zero drop, for me, makes all the difference. And I guess it just kind of comes to show that it doesn't take much of a difference for it to really matter for your comfort. And so for me, this 4 millimeter drop right now is really working. Unlike that pair of Challengers, these have the Vibram soles. I've had these on dry ground and on wet ground. They don't slip and slide. And that makes a huge difference for me after the experience with those Challengers. As of this taping, I only have about 50 miles on these, so maybe it's too early to have an opinion this strong, but after my experience with the Speedgoat 4s and now the Speedgoat 5s and how comfortable they are, I'm just going to go out and say that the Speedgoat, this is the shoe for me, at least for right now. For me, this stack and the drop are super comfortable. The ride is, I don't even know what to say. It's like walking on clouds. It's wonderful. At the end of a day of hiking, my feet are not just completely wiped out from walking all day on rocks and kind of some rough terrain. So the shoe is working out great for me. I will note that there is one significant difference between the Speedgoat 4s and the Speedgoat 5s, and it has to do with the material on the upper. And you can see how soft this material is. I don't know that this material is necessarily flimsy, but it seems like it's really thin. I know for a fact that it's breathable, but because it's so thin, it does make me wonder how durable this is going to be in the long run. We'll see. That's my shoe journey over the last 3 years and my opinion on the Hoka Speedgoat 5. As always, on the way out, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.